But if there's one topic that regularly comes up with regard to the issue of human sexuality, regardless of the forms or orientations it takes, is that it's a question of love. We hear various statements such as a right to love, a freedom to love. It's about love. And certainly love is a consistent topic in society and cultures and art, in music and literature, all throughout human history. But in the biblical sense, there is a specific understanding of love that is applied not only to the love that Christ has for his people, the love that we're called to have for one another, but also in the love that is shared between a husband and a wife in exercising their marital prerogatives in engaging in sexual intercourse. Well, first, there are 3 words used for love in the Bible that are translated into English as love. The first is the word eros. It's a Greek word found only twice in the Old Testament and never in the New Testament, which is ironic because at the time the New Testament was written, and it was written in Greek, the word eros was the most commonly used word for love in the Greco-Roman world. But it's rarely used in the Bible and never in the New Testament. And of course, eros is the word from which we derive the term erotic, and it makes reference to the physical and pleasurable aspects of love. The second word is the word philia, which means friendship. And that, of course, is used to describe the love that Christ has for his disciples, the love of friends. Jesus had a love for his friends. He said, "You are my friends if you do what I command you." We perhaps see a similar type of that with regard to, characters in literature. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were not lovers. They were good friends. Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee in The Lord of the Rings were not lovers. They were good friends. And we see that intense love they have for each other as friends and the deep friendship that they share. That's the friendship of philia, which we find also in the Bible. However, in the Bible, the most common word used for love is agape, which here again is ironic because it was the least common used word in the Greco-Roman world. And agape connotes love that is a total self-giving of one for another, such as the love that Jesus gave when he died on the cross, a complete giving of oneself. It's not exclusive of the other 2 forms of love, eros and philia, but the complete giving of oneself, an absolute unselfish form of love, is what agape is and is the love we are called to have as a people of faith. So when we look at these 3 words and consider the most common word used in Greco-Roman society is the least common in the Bible, and the least common word in Greco-Roman society is the most common in the Bible, what does that tell us about our religious and Christian understanding of love? It is, at its heart, must and always should be countercultural. The love that we speak of as Christians is not the love that we see promoted in society. It is not a matter of physical pleasure, but it is a matter of total self-giving. And so when we hear people regarding human sexuality saying it's about love, we have to remember the classifications of love, that the love that we speak of as Christians, especially in the biblical sense, is not the love that is talked about in society with regard to the sexual matters that society is constantly grappling with and debating. And so when it comes to the question of love, let us remember that we as Christians must always be countercultural. And when we speak of relationships of love, it is not in the sense that society in general speaks of love.
How does that work?
What is it we Christians say is the ultimate personification of it? We say God is love. These are the words of St. John in his epistles. God is love. And so any form of love, even between a husband and a wife, God is present there. And what are the basic attributes of God? God is the author of life. And so in the act of human sexual intercourse, there must be open the possibility of the transmission of life, the procreation of life. So again, here, with the standards that we look at as Catholic Christians, contraception would violate that. Because what does it do? It closes off the possibility of procreation in an act between a man and a woman. And if we're closing out the possibility of life, then we are basically closing God out of this action and reducing it merely to, yes, an act of self-giving, a pleasurable act, but one that is not open to the procreation of life made in God's image and likeness. So if God is put out of the equation, then the question could be asked, is love really present, as we understand it in the biblical and Christian sense? And so it is in that light that the Church has always preached against the practice of contraception and artificial means of birth control. Again, it works hard to pastorally work with people who have various issues to deal with regard to feeding of families and so on. But when looked against the standards of the illicit sexual act, pleasurable, self-giving in the context of commitment, contraception closes the possibility of procreation, and therefore is in part a violation of the 6th Commandment, you shall not commit adultery.